to celebrate. Come on, get back up on your feet. Come on. Put your hands on it. Come on. This is just the year of refreshing. It's playing now, unfolding. The time of your great blessing. Thank you, Darian Dennis. Come on. Nothing but victory. That's the promise of our King.
Let's see if we can take a look at this. Matthew chapter 12, verse number 33. Y'all got it? Verse 33 says, either make the tree good and his fruit good, or else make the tree corrupt and his fruit corrupt. For the tree is known by his fruit. Y'all heard that before? O generation of vipers, how can ye being evil speak good things? For out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. I like that. Because, sometimes, people can trick you. And all you got to do is just, you really want to know what's in somebody's their heart, hang around them long enough to hear what they say. They'll let it slip out. And if you're smart enough, you can catch it and say, oh, okay, that's how you really feel. Okay? Out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaketh. Matthew said right here in verse number 33, I like how he said this. He said the tree don't have to either be good or bad. All right. Because a good tree can't produce bad fruit, and a bad tree can't produce good fruit. All right. So either make the tree good or make the tree bad. Based on the deposit, somebody say deposit. He said out of the deposit, that means based on what is put in you will determine what's going to come out of you. That's pretty good. I thought about this because on this week I was doing some studying on marriage. Somebody say marriage. Anybody ever heard about marriage before? Amen. There's some research on singleness and being single, and that's our point. I said, well, God, how can I make sure that I'm prepared myself for what should be an eternal relationship? Now, although there is no giving in and out of marriage in heaven, but on earth you should want to know how to have a good relationship. Amen. At least you should want to know how to have a good relationship, because one thing about relationships, when they bad, that can be torture. And that don't even just have to be with a spouse. You can have a bad relationship with a family member, and if it goes bad, it can go bad. And it can really pull you away from being the best you, or them being the best them. And so when I started looking at relationships, I started looking on how can I make sure that I'm prepared, somebody said prepared, for a great relationship. How many of you know that God is concerned about relationships? And God is concerned on how strong your relationships are. Matter of fact, He died just so we can be in relationship. And so when I look at this 12th chapter, Matthew says that a good tree can't put out bad stuff. So when you look at your relationship, what kind of stuff are you putting out? And based on what you see you're putting out, you can determine if your roots are rooted in God or if your roots are rooted in the world. Because based on which kind of results you're pushing out will determine what you're putting out. And so our culture, I'm going to start a series on next week. I just want to lay a little foundation, but I'm going to talk about cultural allowances. And basically what that's going to be is talking about how our culture has totally went against the culture of the Bible. And so as it relates to dating, as it relates to marriage, we're all tore up from the floor up. Because the culture teaches us one way, but God is saying that we should do it another way. Say amen, somebody. Now act like there's about 1,000 people in here. I don't know what I got to do to work. Amen. And so the way that dating, somebody say dating. The way that dating is taught to do in this generation is supposed to be preparing you for marriage, but it's actually preparing you for divorce. Watch this. Even before you ever get married, you're being prepared to be divorced. Before you even get engaged. Why? Because the setup of how dating from this culture is set up. And so, how many people single in here? Amen. All right, well, this is going to be good then. Okay? So, for people who are single, you are in the best time of your life.
Amen.
In the best time of your life. Because when you are single, this is your opportunity for preparation. See, when you're married, your priority is not to you. Your priority should be to your mate.
All right.
And so if your priority is to your mate, there are some things that you want to do that's going to get kept undone.
All right.
Now those things that's being kept undone are actually things that you really need to do. Somebody say need to do. And so because those things you really need to do, guess what? If you have to put your priority based on him or based on her, all the things that you want to do, those things are going to go unfulfilled in your life. And so you're looking to say, I'm single, and being single, I don't have that special person, I don't have that special relationship, I don't have that marriage, and the way social media make it look, you'll be diving off into something way before it's time because of the social identity of what happiness is really supposed to be. And so you're looking at other people in Hawaii, and you're looking at people ski boating, and you're looking at people doing this, and they're doing that, and you say, I want that too. I would like somebody to take me on the horse and do all that good stuff. And so the idea is that the social identity that you see every day on social media, those things also push you to make decisions or to want something that you're not ready for.
All right.
See, when you're single, this should be the best time of your life.
Yes.
I'm talking about this should be the best time of your life because when you're single, you can get some work done. It's hard to get work done. When you get married, the work needs to be just about already done. When I say work, what I'm saying is that when you get married, your financial stability should be put in place already. Forget this stuff about trying to say we got to change the culture of how we think about relationships. How am I going to get married? They say 87% of Christian relationships, marriages end in divorce because of finances. Tell somebody ain't no money. That's an issue. That's an issue when it ain't no money. Y'all gotta make a decision between her going to get her hair done and whether y'all gonna have outside lunch to eat next week. Now you a man and see sometimes men, we're not very well at communicating. Now we thinking about what you thinking about, we just ain't saying that. So we know that you're going to need money to go to work next week and do all the things that you need to do, but we ain't came to you and communicated that to you. So a lot of times women think that we ain't thinking about that. And then you're concerned about, well, I need to get my nails and my hands and my feet done. And you said, babe, I need to get my hands and feet done. And he said, well, we ain't got it. It's not really that we don't got it, but it's just some other things that's more important than your hands and feet right now.
All right.
And so now that becomes an issue because you was just sitting at work next to your friend who got her hair, feet, and nails, and she went to a spa last weekend. That's how issues start to happen because of finances. So when you're single, tell somebody, get some work done.
Get some work done.
Get some work done. And whatever you want to do with your life, focus on that. Get those things done. Now, the pain of singleness. Y'all gonna let me teach this morning?
All right.
The pain of being single is really your greatest blessing. Oh yeah. Let's go back to the Garden of Eden. So watch this, the Garden of Eden. And we'll get into this really strong next week. But remember the Garden of Eden, here's Adam. Now, we are taught that God will fulfill your every need, right?
All right.
But how does God fulfill your every need? God fulfills your every need with that which that need comes from. So if you have a need for food, God is not going to fulfill that need with God. Don't y'all miss that.
All right.
But he's going to fulfill that need with food. If you have a need for clothing, God is going to fulfill that need with clothing. If you have a need for water, God is going to fulfill that need with water. If you have a need for a man,
Watch out now.
if you have a need for a woman, God is going to fulfill that need with a man or a what? A woman. Will God fulfill every need? Of course he will fulfill every need. Watch how God fulfills the need of a man or a woman though. Adam is walking with God in the garden. Can y'all see them walking?
Yes.
Adam and God walking in the garden. Adam is with God, and God realizes that Adam is not fulfilled. Hold on. He's with God though.
All right.
Can you imagine hanging out with God every day and you feel like you ain't got everything you need?
All right.
I think that would be an issue.
I think so.
Because you're the one that's supposed to give all things. The word said that he will supply all your needs. The word said if I seek him, he'll add all things unto me. So if I'm walking with God, how can I have a need? Well, because the way God created man, he created man with a need for a woman.
All right now. All right now.
So watch this what God does. So he says, it's not good for man to be alone. He sees Adam, says it's not good for man to be alone, but he does not respond by giving him what he thinks he needs. When he says, Adam, man should not live, that's not good for you to be alone, you know what he told him to do? He said, go out there and name the animals. Somebody say time.
Time.
Now, some theologians say that it took 10 to 100 years before God ever really created Eve. What is God doing? I got to walk this up so you get the full understanding of our relationship. What was he doing? If he says, I have a need today, and then he take between 10 and 100 years to give me what he know I need. Don't y'all miss this. To give me what he knows I need. He took time. Because if he had a longing for a woman and God added to the pain of loneliness, why did he do this? Because when Adam finally got Eve, he wanted to make sure that he would appreciate what he had.
All right, man. All right.
So he takes time. That's why he don't tell you to just jump into relationship. That's why he don't just tell you to jump with her and her and her and him and him and him. Why? Because it's going to take some time to get your heart prepared for a long-term relationship.
All right now. All right.
Hallelujah. It's going to take some time. It's going to take some time. And so he says to Adam, name the animals. You go name the animals. Go out there and figure out what the lion and the cheetah is. Adam like, but I need something though. You telling me to go do it. Haven't you ever felt like you needed a mate in your life and God had you doing something else?
All right. Amen. All right.
You know you felt like you wanted a mate, but God got you raising kids. You felt like you needed a mate, God got you working 20 hours a week. Because God, what he's doing is he's mending time in your heart. So that when the time comes, you ain't gonna never forfeit that blessing God gives you next time.
Amen. All right.
That next relationship you get, you mess around with a good woman or a good man, you're gonna appreciate it.
All right.
You're gonna appreciate it because of the loneliness.
Yeah.
The pain was your friend. You didn't know it, but if you didn't have the pain, you couldn't appreciate what was coming up in your life.
All right now. All right.
The next blessing God got for you, you had to wait for that.
All right.
You have to put some time in it. And in our culture, we teach that everything is supposed to happen right now. I told you the thing last week. I told you that how dating was 20 years ago, dating is totally different than that today.
Yes. Yes.
It's totally different. The way that they date today is like, whoa.
All right now.
It's like, you had to live. Now, say 40 years ago, dating, before I was born, but probably my parents, a man had to go.
Come on, everybody say expect. I can't hear you say it, y'all. Come on, lift it up, expect the grace.
Well, maybe we didn't do that 20 years ago, but you definitely didn't just get to go straight out.
No. Right. Oh no.
You didn't get to just go. And then, we did things differently. We did stuff like, you went out on the weekends. Well, no, Wednesday night hookup.
All right.
Or what you doing Tuesday? In school.
All right. All right.
Times were different, other priorities.
Yes.
And then when the weekend comes, a man would say, can I take you out to eat and pick you up Friday at 7 o'clock?
Yes.
When you pick her up at 7 o'clock and you get out and open the door for her.
Yes. Yes.
And her mom and dad is looking out the window already.
All right. All right.
Yeah?
He's speaking from experience.
You better believe it, huh? And you let her in.
Yes.
And then you was nice to her.
Yes.
And you treated her with respect.
Yes.
And you didn't even know if you was going to get a kiss at the end of the night.
All right.
But you was hopeful.
All right.
All night you trying to figure out, am I going to get this shit up when it's over with? You have to go out to eat, go to the movies, and maybe hold a little hand or something like that. And sometimes the parents will do the picking up and dropping off.
All right.
It was different then.
Yes.
Nowadays,
Watch out.
listen, you don't even got to take a girl out to eat.
All
No, now, what you on?
right. Slide on.
They said, well, let's link.
Okay.
What you on? None. They say something else. They don't say nothing. They say the answer like, they say that. Man, you just getting small, man. You just looking good, man. Keep it up, man.
All right. Amen.
You're probably you just looking good, boy. That black man. Shit, man. Look at him, man.
All right. All right.
Good, man. Shit. Well, I didn't relapse, but that's all right. But you're motivating me to get back. I relapsed again. Boy, I done relapsed so many times in my life. All right, let me get off that. Let me get back to this thing. What was I saying? Oh, I got you. Let's link. Let's get up. You get with a girl nowadays, you almost sure to have sex the first day.
Watch out.
Oh, shoot, yeah, shoot. They came to have sex. Man, I told y'all a couple weeks ago, you knew girls used to have at least a 3-month time. They used to have, well, you know you ain't getting none for 3 months.
I'm not be going to church.
Man, you used to count them 3 months down. They was like, boy, 3 months, boy. Oh, we been together 6 weeks. I know she gonna give me something. We made 3 months. You ain't gotta make it 3 days, man. First time we out. Never. What does that set you up for? Exactly. And so now these relationships that we're building them on sand instead of a solid foundation. And so there's a reason, somebody say a reason. There's a reason why God requires separation before unity.
Yes, sir.
There's a reason why he requires separation. Why? Because, say this, say dating is dangerous.
It's dangerous. It really is.
Dating is dangerous because dating can cause you to cross boundaries and parameters that you are not ready for. Just use sex for example. This is why the Bible teaches you to flee from fornication, stay away from it. Because when you start to dating someone, once you have sex with them, what happens is you become blinded now. You become blinded from their flaws. You become blinded from the things you could have picked up on if your heart was still pure toward God. It's called a discerning spirit. But what happens is you give your heart to the wrong people because of sex.
All right. Yes, sir.
You give your heart to people you should have never gave your phone number to.
Watch out.
Are y'all hear what I'm saying this morning? I won't preach like it's 1,000 of us anyway. It don't matter. You give your heart to people you should have never gave the time of day, but your vision was cloudy because of sex. It was cloudy because God requires separation before unity. That's why he says flee from fornication, because fornication, sexual activity outside of the way that God intended to be, it makes you not able to see clearly. So you make bad choices. So you make bad decisions. And for the young people, let me talk to y'all. Way down the road, it may not seem like it mattered today. Oh, but it mattered then. When a good chunk of your life is all tore up from the flow up because you made a decision when you couldn't see clearly. Come on.
All right. Preach now.
Passion. Somebody say passion. Sexual. Let me say this. Because in church, this is another mistake that we make. We act like sex is bad. So we paint this picture about sex. We say sex is dirty, sex is nasty, sex gonna send you to hell, and we say all that. And then we say, but when you get married, have as much as you want of it. Well, if it was that bad, I don't know if I want it.
All right now.
So let's change our perception. Instead of saying sex is bad, let's say sex is good.
Sex is good.
Sex is good, okay? But under parameters, all right? So if I decided, and me and Pastor Stokes came on this stage and built a fire right here, and he brought the wood. Somebody say he brought the wood. Brought the wood, and we set a fire here. We brought the gasoline. We poured gasoline. Are y'all with me with the fire? We got the gasoline now. We got the wood. Who got the fire? You got the fire, Joy? Joy, bring the fire up there. Now, by the time Joy get up there with that fire, the rest of y'all will be trying to figure out, once she strikes that match, what's going to happen with that carpet up there. What will be happening is that we will be starting a fire that is not contained. And anytime you start a fire that cannot be contained, you lose control. And watch this, it begins to burn things that it was not intended to burn. So sex is the fire. And if you use this fire outside of parameters, you burn up your life. And that career that you could have had got burnt up unintentionally because you was in a bad relationship that requires you not to give your focus to it. That degree that you could have had, it got burnt up because instead of studying, you want to go hang out with this Negro that you want to go like him or his mama in 5 years.
All right. Reach now.
Somebody told me before, said that if it won't matter in the next 5 years, don't even get no attention to it. So here it is, it's fire, but if you contain this fire, how many know the same fire that warm your house and warm your body is the same fire that will burn down all the woods in California? Somebody said same fire. The only difference is the fire that's in your house is contained. The fire that's burning down the woods and they can't control it is uncontained. A marriage that starts with two people who have saved themselves is a marriage that is contained. So what does that mean? It can keep outside things away. All right? It can keep outside things away. But once that fire is uncontained, all kind of things can happen. Your life can be destroyed because there's nothing that can control the fire. And so passion, there's nothing wrong with passion. We got to teach our young, it's nothing wrong when your people, there's nothing wrong with, we just gonna let him have a service today. It's his today. It's his today. It is his today. This passion, there's nothing wrong with passion. And we have to teach even our children that when they're passionate, there's nothing wrong with that. Passion is fine.
Yes, sir.
But if you don't put a tap on passion,
Yes, sir.
that's what got Moses in trouble.
Yes, sir.
Moses was so passionate that when the children of Israel were doubting God and not doing what believing in God, and they said, we want water. And Moses said, well, you got doggone rebels, you want water? Then I give you water. Bam, bam, here, take your water.
Right.
But his passion, he forgot God told him only hit the rock once. His passion turned to anger, and then he disobeyed God. Your passion is good, but you got to be able to put a cap on your passion. The day of your marriage should be the best day of your life. Tell somebody, stop running from the pain. The pain of loneliness, the tension of separation is what's going to make the marriage so much worthwhile. You can't get everything now and expect to get all the benefits of marriage later. I got him this morning. I'm trying to tell you that when you're single, you're starting fires that's going to burn up things you're going to need later on. It's burning up stuff. And you're going to reach for that stuff later on. And you're going to be finally, I got my wife, I got my husband. You're going to finally have it. But you're going to be missing some stuff.
Yes, sir.
Because you use these things too soon. God wants you to keep yourself only to Him when you're single. Say amen, somebody. Amen. And guess what? If Paul said that if you can't control yourself, he said better to marry than to burn. Now, he didn't say you couldn't control yourself. He said for those of you who won't control yourself. Because we all can control ourselves if we choose to. Say amen, somebody. Amen. If it's a choice, if we can see what happens is we got the wrong perspective. We want now gratification. We want gratification now. We want it today. We want what we want now. If we get feelings, we want to satisfy them feelings now.
Yes.
Well, the first thing they do is change what's going in. The scripture said that out of the good deposit, if you put the wrong stuff in your mind, your body, your flesh is going to desire the wrong things.
All right.
Say amen, somebody.
Amen.
So what we got to do, if I want to live right, if I want to live holy, I got to watch what I put in me. I got to guard what I see.
Yes.
I got to guard what I hear. Because based off what is deposited in my heart will determine how I feel. Out of the heart flows the issues of life. Say amen, somebody.
Amen.
When you feeling freaky deaky, we might not put this one up. When you feeling freaky deaky all the time, I guarantee you putting freaky stuff in your mind.
All right.
I bet your conversations are all jacked up. Say amen, somebody.
Amen.
Sure, the Lord will put everybody text messages on the screen today. Lord Jesus. Who said that? Say amen, somebody.
Amen.
If your text message, what if God was reading your text messages? And he does read them. What if people had your codes and they could read through your messages? What if? You heard me say what if? What if your next level was determined by what's in your phone? Because you do know that what you do in private will determine how God really bless you publicly. It's the things that you can't, that people do not see. See, we can put makeup on.
All right.
We can put nice haircuts on.
All right. All right.
We can stand in pulpits and preach.
Uh-huh.
We can do all that.
All right.
But what's in your heart is going to come out your mouth.
Amen.
Say amen, somebody.
Amen.
It's going to come out your mouth.
Yes.
And the things that God is trying to get us back to is bringing families. Somebody say families. Families back together.
Yes,
Not
sir.
only just families back together, but in order to build a strong church, it's going to take a strong families.
Yes. Yes.
How can we get husbands back loving God?
Amen.
How can we get submissive wives that will raise their children in a godly way?
Yes.
You know what's going to start? We got to start right where we are. One person at a time making a decision that I'm going to do it God's way. One decision, somebody say one decision at a time. One decision that I'm going to put my life under the will of God.
All right.
I'm going to say this and I close. I looked up the word infatuation. Do you know what the word infatuation in the Latin means? False love made foolish. And that's what we've operated in, infatuation. Some brothers have missed some great wives because the women who really loved them didn't look like they wanted them to look.
All right. All right.
Some women have missed out on some great guys because he didn't have a six-pack and he wanted chocolate.
Amen. All right. All right.
Infatuation.
Yes, sir.
But infatuation is just false love. And in the long term, what it's going to do is going to make you look foolish.
Yes.
Because when 10, 15 years can pass you by and you still making decisions off your flesh, you're going to start to see that you've been passed up. And when you're 40 and 45, you start getting up that age, it ain't to say that everybody going to look like Sister Mafia right there.
All right. All right.
Everybody may not be able to be able to look like Sister Felicia. You may not be that. You may not be that blessed. You know, you may take a turn in life somewhere.
Amen. All right.
And so when it ain't the looks no more, what would it be then? when it's not looks, when it's not infatuation no more, what will it be then? You better have some anointing on your life. And you better have a God that holds the king's heart in his hand that will turn. See, God will make somebody love you
All right.
based on how you love him.
All right.
I just said something.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, the person you desire and you can't really get them, show you no attention. The Bible said the king's heart is in the Lord, saying he turns in which ways to go. Which means that God will touch other people and make them have favor with you.
All right. All right.
It's in his hands.
Yes.
But the Bible says that Chronicles chapter 16, verse number 11, that the eyes of the Lord are going to and fro through the earth looking for someone whose heart is perfect toward him. And he said, when I find those hearts, he said, I'll show myself strong through their lives.
All right.
He said, when I find people who are committed to me, who loves me, who puts me before their flesh, he said, I'll come and give them favor.
All right.
And you know the favor of God is God's advantages and his assistance. This is what God is willing to give to those who will keep themselves separated before marriage. Because the dating should prepare us for marriage, not divorce.
All right.
But if we date the wrong way, y'all hear this one? If we date the wrong way, your marriage will end up the wrong way.
All right.
I know from experience, if you start the thing wrong, good chances good chances
All right.
you're probably gonna end wrong.
Preach.
So now, people of God, let's redirect our focus back toward the scripture and the Bible and the way that God teaches us to date and have relationships, and then put the pressure back on him who is able to keep us from falling.
All right.
Have you received that? Give him glory.